So before beginning with today's smart talk, let me introduce today's speaker, Aishwarya Shanbag. She is a chartered accountant with 4 years of experience in direct taxation. She had worked with both Indian and Australian tax systems, handling income tax and GST. As an assistant manager, she leads the income tax return filing process for clients, and with her expertise, she helps businesses manage their taxes smoothly. So, welcome, Aishwarya.
Hi Gaurav, can you hear me now?
Yes, now I can hear you.
Okay, Gaurav. Thank you for the warm introduction. Thank you so much. Let me quickly share my screen. Just give me a confirmation whether it is visible for you.
Yes, sure.
Yes. Is it visible now?
Yes, it is.
Okay, fine. Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. So this is CA Aishwarya. As Gaurav has already given a brief introduction about me. So I am a chartered accountant by profession and I am associated with Clear Tax for more than a year now. So here basically I handle about the income tax return filing of an individual, tax planning, notice management for an individual. So apart from the Clear Tax experience, I also have 3+ years of experience in Indian taxation as well as Australian taxation. So this was about a brief introduction about me. So yeah, today's session, as you all know, will be all about budget 2025. So when union budget was announced on 1st of February 2025, there has been a lots of changes when we talk about from a perspective of a individual taxation, right? So here in today's webinar, basically we'll be talking about the key highlights of budget 2025. We will also talk about the tax updates that are there for an individual, and also what are the income tax rates. As you all might be aware that there has been a major change when we talk about the income tax slabs as well as the rates when you're opting for new tax regime. So here we will see what are the income tax slabs as well as the rates that has been announced in budget 2025. We will also do a comparison between the pre-budget 2025 tax rates as well as the post-budget 2025 tax rates. And we will also take a numerical example to give you a better understanding about the tax liability for different levels of your income. And we will also talk about marginal relief. So now there has been a lots of debate around the marginal relief concept. So here that also we will be discussing in detail with help of numerical examples. And then we will talk about the rationalization of TDS and TCS thresholds here. So now TDS, TCS has also undergone a major changes in various sections when we talk about the threshold limits. So for lots of section, threshold limit has been increased in budget 2025. So that we will be discussing in detail, but only from a perspective of an individual taxation. And there is also a little bit changes when we talk about the crypto reporting. Again, that will be applicable from financial year 26-27 onwards. And as of today, nothing has been notified as such. But again, that also we will discuss in very brief manner. And lastly, we will also discuss about ITR-U. So here ITR-U stands for updated income tax return. So now there has been a change in the time limit for filing ITR-U. So that also we will discuss. And towards the end of the session, maybe we'll do a 20 to 25 minutes of Q&A session wherein you can pitch in your questions related to budget 2025. And also, if you have some doubts while I'm explaining anything, please feel free to put it in the chat box and I will take up those to answer towards the end. So having said this, I hope all your doubts will be clarified after the session. Now, let us quickly start the key highlights of budget 2025. So now when we talk about the economic outlook, again, this is not very relevant for us, but again, being the citizens of India, this is very important for us to know what are the changes that has been done in budget 2025, which will impact us economically. First and foremost thing is the GDP is expected to grow between 6.3 to 6.8% for financial year 25-26. And the gross tax revenue is expected to grow at 10.8%, and the gross tax to GDP ratio is expected to be at 12%. And also the fiscal deficit is expected to be at 4.4% of the GDP. Again, I'm repeating, these 4 points are not much relevant when we talk about the taxation. Now, let us discuss about the important point, that is the key tax reforms. Now, first and foremost thing is new income tax bill is proposed to be announced. Now again, this we will discuss in the further slide in detailed manner. Second thing is, as we already discussed, that under the new tax regime, the personal tax rates has been changed, including the tax slabs. Again, this also we will take up in detail in the upcoming slide. Third and most important point is time limit to file your ITR-U has been extended. So now, to give you a heads up, it was 2 years from the end of the relevant assessment year, but now that has been increased to 4 years from the end of the relevant assessment year. And the fourth important point is TDS and TCS threshold has been increased for various sections. Again, we have a detailed comparison of TDS and TCS, that is pre-budget and post-budget, which we will be discussing in detail. And also there has been a change in the custom duty structure as well. But again, that is not relevant for an individual. So we are not discussing in detail about the custom duty rate restructuring. Now, let us talk about the personal tax updates here. First and foremost thing is introduction of the new income tax bill. So till budget 2025 came up, Income Tax Act 1961 was there. But now it is proposed to introduce new income tax bill 2025. So this was proposed to be introduced from 3rd February 2025. But now the latest update is on 7th of February, that is on last Friday, this new income tax bill has been passed in the Lok Sabha. That means it has got an approval from the Lok Sabha on last Friday. And now this bill has gone to the committee, which is set up again by the Government of India for the recommendations. So hopefully by this month, we are expecting that this new income tax bill will be passed in the Rajya Sabha as well, with all the recommendations that will be given by the committee, and soon it will be enacted. But again, if this income tax bill 2025 will come, so that will be applicable from financial year 26-27 onwards. Now, the second and most important thing is whatever changes that we will be discussing that has come up in budget 2025. So this will be applicable only if you are opting for new tax regime. That means all these changes have been done only under the new tax regime. That means in simple words, under old tax regime, everything remains the same. When we talk about the tax slabs, when we talk about the rates, when we talk about the various deductions, exemptions, everything remains the same under the old tax regime. But there has been only one change when if you are opting for old tax regime, that is the widening of the investment option under section 80 CCD 1B, which is for the NPS Vatsalya scheme. And the third and most important point is if you have a self-occupied house property. So till budget 2025, what was the provision? It used to be if you have two self-occupied house properties, in that case, one self-occupied house property, there is no need to show the rent. You can claim it as a self-occupied house property. But for the second house property, if for any reason it is vacant or if you have occupied it, in that case, you were supposed to prove for the second property that it is not used for your employment purpose, it is not used for your business purpose. So now this burden of proof was on the taxpayer. But now, after budget 2025, up to two self-occupied house properties, you can show the annual value as there. That means you don't really have to show any rent or deemed rent for the two self-occupied house properties. And the fourth and most important point is about the rebate. So now, rebate under section 87A, if you are opting for new tax regime, in that case, you can claim rebate up to rupees 60,000. That means in simple words, if your total income is up to rupees 12 lakh, in that case, because of rebate under section 87A of 60,000, you don't have to pay any tax here. But now, if you're a salaried individual, in that case, because of the standard deduction of 75,000, this overall limit will be 12,75,000. Now, in order to put this in simple words, if you are a salaried individual, in that case, if your total income is up to 12,75,000, in that case, because of rebate, you don't have to pay any tax. And if you have any other income, which is apart from your salary income, in that case, we need to consider if your total income is up to 12 lakh rupees or not. If it is up to 12 lakh rupees, in that case, again, because of rebate, you don't have to pay any taxes here. But one important point to be noted for both 12 lakh limit and 12.75 lakh limit is whatever special rates of income that we have under the Income Tax Act. Now, in order to give you an example, So this can be your capital gains. So this can be your long-term capital gain or short-term capital gain. Because after budget 2024, all your long-term capital gains will be taxed at 12.5% and all your short-term capital gain will be taxed at 20%. So for both of these capital gains, as there is a special rate, so this will not come under 12 lakh or 12.75 lakh limit. And also if you have any other special rates of income, so this can be your online gaming income, gambling income, lottery income, because all this income will be taxed at 30%. So if your total income includes capital gain or any other special rates of income, for that you won't be able to claim any rebate here. Apart from that, if you have salary income, if you have house property income, if you have other income, so that can be your interest, dividend income, or if you have any business or profession income, in that case, this 12 lakh limit will be there. And if you have only salary income, in that case, 12.75 lakhs will be the limit. So this was about the personal tax updates. Now, let us quickly do a comparison between the tax rates here. So now, as I already said, the new income tax rate as well as the slab will be applicable only if you are opting for new tax regime. And if you are opting for old tax regime, everything remains the same, which was there till now. Now, when we talk about the new tax regime here, so here in this particular slide, you can see there are two columns. First is for current and second is proposed. Now, please understand that whatever the slab and rates that we have in the current column, so this will be applicable for assessment year 25-26. Rather, I would say financial year 24-25, for which you need to file your income tax return by July 2025. For this particular financial year, this current slab as well as rates will be applicable. And whatever the slabs and rates that are there in the proposed column, so this will be applicable from assessment year 26-27 onwards. Now, let us quickly talk about the current slab and the rates, which will be applicable for assessment year 25-26 or financial year 24-25. Now, if your income is up to 3 lakh rupees, in that case, you don't have to pay any taxes here, rate will be nil. And if your income is between 3 to 7 lakh rupees, in that case, 5% will be the rate. If your income is between 7 to 10 lakh rupees, it will be 10%. 10 to 12 lakh, it will be 15%. 12 to 15 lakh, it will be 20%. And if your income exceeds 15 lakh rupees, it will be 30%. Now, what is proposed? So what are the proposed slab as well as the rates, which will be applicable for assessment year 26-27 or financial year 25-26. Now, if your income is between 0 to 4 lakh rupees, in that case, rate will be nil. So if you can compare here between current and the proposed, the basic exemption limit has been increased from 3 lakh rupees to 4 lakh here. Now, going further, when we talk about the proposed slab as well as the rates, if your income is between 4 to 8 lakh rupees, in that case, 5% is the rate. 8 to 12 lakh rupees, it will be 10%. 12 to 16 lakh, it will be 15%. 16 to 20 lakh, it will be 20%. 20 to 24 lakhs, it will be 25%. And if your income exceeds 24 lakh, it will be 30%. Now here, as I already mentioned, if your income is up to 12 lakh rupees, you will get a rebate of rupees 60,000 and you will end up paying zero taxes. And if you're a salaried individual, in that case, because of the standard deduction of 75,000, if your income is up to 12 lakh 75,000, you will again enjoy a rebate. Again, in this 12 lakh or 12.75 lakhs, capital gain as well as your special rates of income are not included. Now, let us take a numerical example here. So we already discussed that up to 12.75 lakh rupees or 12 lakh rupees, you don't have to pay any taxes here, right? So now let us understand this with the help of examples. Now here, let us first take an example for a salaried taxpayer or a salaried individual. Now let us suppose say that his salary income is 12 lakh 75,000. From this, he will be able to take a standard deduction of 75,000 because he is opting for new tax regime. So now once you deduct the standard deduction of 75,000, his gross total income is 12 lakh rupees. Assuming he is not having any other income, he is only a salaried individual and salary is his only income. Now he is having a gross total income of 12 lakh rupees. Again, as under new tax regime, there are very limited deductions that you can claim. Now, in order to take an example, or for the ease of understanding, let us assume that the person is not investing anywhere and he is not claiming any deductions. So now we are having a total taxable income of 12 lakh rupees because we are claiming zero deductions. Now, if you go ahead and compute taxes for this income level as per the proposed tax rates, right? So up to 4 lakh rupees, you don't have to pay any tax. So rate will be nil. From 4 to 8 lakh rupees, here it will be 5%, right? So for 4 lakh, if you consider 5%, it will be 20,000. And from 8 to 12 lakh rupees, it will be 10%. Again, 10% of 4 lakh will be 40,000 rupees. So now the total tax of this particular individual who is a salary taxpayer, whose salary income is 12,75,000, is coming to 60,000 rupees. Again, as we already discussed, that if a salaried individual is having income up to rupees 12,75,000, because of rebate, he will be eligible for rebate under section 87A of 60,000. So now, if you deduct 87A rebate of 60,000 from the total taxes, his total tax payable will be nil. So this was for a salaried individual. Now, let us take an example of a other than salaried individual. So now we have assumed that his income is 12 lakh rupees. Now, because he is not a salaried individual, he will be not eligible for any other deduction, that is standard deduction. So now his gross total income will be 12 lakh rupees. Now, again, assuming that he doesn't have any other deduction, he is not investing anywhere and is not eligible for deductions here. Now, his total taxable income will be 12 lakh rupees. Now, when we go ahead and compute taxes here, again, up to 4 lakh rupees, it will be nil. He doesn't have to pay any taxes. If his income is between 4 to 8 lakh rupees, again, it will be 5%, which is coming to 20,000 rupees. 8 to 12 lakh, it will be 10%, which is again coming to 40,000 rupees, giving us a total tax of 60,000 rupees. Now, again, as his income was up to 12 lakh rupees, he will get a rebate under section 87A of 60,000, which after that he will be paying zero tax on this particular income level. Again, I'm repeating, whatever 12 lakh is there, this is assuming that the person is not having any capital gain income or any special rates of income. Now, let us talk about marginal relief here. So now we understood from our previous slides that if a salaried individual is having his income up to rupees 12.75 lakh rupees, he will end up paying zero taxes. Now, let us take an example. Let us take an example of a person who is having his salary income as 12,85,000 rupees. So now we understood that he will not be eligible for rebate because his income is exceeding 12.75 lakh rupees. Now here, if you can see, his income exceeded only by 10,000 rupees from the rebate limit. So now because his income exceeded 12.75 lakh rupees, so now he is not eligible for rebate. So we need to, calculate his taxes as per the normal slab rates. Now, if we go ahead and compute taxes for 12,85,000 as per the slab rates, his liability will come to 61,500 rupees. So now this seems a bit unfair for those individuals who are earning more than 12.75 lakh rupees. Because if you compare an individual who is having his salary income as 12.75 lakh rupees, he will end up paying zero taxes. But if there is one more individual whose income is 12,85,000, because his income just exceeded 10,000 rupees, his liability is coming to 61,500 rupees. So this is a bit unfair for those individuals. Now, in order to give relief to those individuals who are earning more than 12.75 lakh rupees, marginal relief concept has been introduced. So now we will understand this in a better manner with the help of examples here. So now let us take an example of a person who is having his income, rather I would put it as a salary income as 12,85,000. So first and foremost is he is eligible for deduction of 75,000 rupees. Now, after the standard deduction, his total income is coming to 12,10,000 rupees. Now, if you go ahead and compute taxes as per the normal slab and the rates, his liability is coming to 61,500 rupees. Now, he will get a marginal relief here because his income is exceeding just 10,000 more than the 12,75,000. Now, how are we supposed to compute the marginal relief here? So now here we need to consider two things. First is the liability as per the slab rates, and second is the income level that is exceeding 12.75 lakh rupees. So in our example, my total income, that is 12,85,000, is 10,000 more than 12,75,000. So now we need to compare 61,500 and 10,000. Whichever is lower will be my tax liability. So in my case, in my first example, my tax liability will be 10,000 rupees. And I will get a marginal relief of 51,500 rupees. So this was about the marginal relief. And this marginal relief will be applicable only to certain income level. That is, in our example, it will be 13,45,588 rupees, because at this particular income level, your liability as per the tax slabs and your liability as per the marginal relief concept will be same. If you can see in your screen here, if you can see in the fifth row, my total income was 13,45,588 rupees. From this, I deducted my standard deduction of 75,000, which is giving me a total income as 12,70,588 rupees. So here my liability as per the tax slab is also 70,588 rupees, and as per marginal relief also it is 70,588 rupees. So at this particular income level and after this particular income level, I will not get any marginal relief. I have to pay my tax liability as per the slab rates. So this was about marginal relief. Now, quickly discussing about the crypto reporting. As I already mentioned in the agenda itself, that as of today, nothing has been mentioned or nothing has been notified as such for crypto reporting. And all these points, all the 4 points that I'll be discussing now will be applicable from financial year 26-27 onwards. First and foremost thing is for the reporting entities. So all this changes has been made for reporting entities and not for individuals here. So here first and foremost point is for reporting entities, there has been a proposal to widen the tax base as well as to improve the transparency in the digital economy here. And also it is proposed to give a detailed guidelines and the manner of reporting. Again, this is for a reporting entities. So this was about the crypto reporting changes. Again, I'm repeating, as of today, nothing has been notified. And if this gets notified also, this will not affect the individual. So this will be affecting only the reporting entities. Now, let us quickly talk about ITR-U here. So ITR-U stands for updated return. So now there might be two possibilities here. First and foremost is an individual has not filed his income tax return, or there is a possibility that you need to make some changes in the original ITR that you have already filed. So in both the cases, you can go for ITR-U. Now, in both the cases, you need to pay the additional tax liability here, which we have already mentioned in the particular table, which I'll be discussing now. And also two important points to be noted about ITR-U is, if you have already filed your income tax return, in that case, while filing ITR-U, you cannot decrease your income that you have already mentioned in the original ITR. And the second, and the second important point is, you cannot claim any refund here. That means there should be a tax liability while filing your ITR. And the third and most important point is, you cannot increase your deductions that you have already claimed in the original ITR. That means you cannot decrease your income, you cannot increase your deductions, and also you cannot claim any refund, or there should not be a case where you have zero tax liability. That means, in simple words, while filing ITR-U, you have to pay the additional tax liability here. Now, till budget 2025, a taxpayer or an individual can file his ITR-U up to 24 months from the end of the relevant assessment year. But now this has been extended to 48 months or 4 years from the end of the relevant assessment year. But again, if you are filing your ITR-U, there are two tax liabilities that you need to pay. First is the normal tax liability. So which is as per your tax slabs, or whatever is the rate that is applicable for you, that is something you have to pay as a normal tax liability. And over and above this, you also need to pay the additional tax liability. And how are we going to calculate the additional tax liability here? So we have different percentages. If you can see in the table here, depending upon the time when you are filing your ITR-U, there are different percentages that has been given, and that needs to be paid as your additional tax liability. Now, let us talk about the time limits. So if you are filing your ITR-U within 1 year from the end of the relevant assessment year, In that case, 25% of the normal tax liability will be your additional tax liability. And if you are filing your ITR-U within 2 years from the end of the relevant assessment year, in that case, it will be 50% of the normal tax liability. If you are filing it within 3 years from the end of the relevant assessment year, it will be 60%. And if it is within 4 years from the end of the relevant assessment year, it will be 70%. So this was about ITR-U. Now, when we talk about the TDS as well as the TCS here, before we move ahead and talk about the thresholds, first, let me give you a heads up here. First foremost thing is for the TCS. So now, till now, if you have made a delayed payment of TCS, in that case, prosecution used to be there. But now, although if you have made delayed payment of TCS, but if you have deposited it within the quarterly statement deadline, in that case, there will be no prosecution done. And the second and most important point is, if you used to do a sale of goods, in that case, TCS used to be there under section 106C1H. So now that has been completely removed. And also, TDS used to be done at the higher rate, so that can be 20%. In two cases, first was if you did not had a PAN, that was the first case, and if you have not filed your income tax return, in both the cases, TDS used to be done at the higher rates, that is 20%. But now, only if you don't have PAN, only in that case, TDS will be done at the higher rate. And if you are a non-filer of ITR, that means if you are not filed your income tax return, in that case, higher rate of TDS will not be applicable here. And whatever rates has been prescribed for each section, so that will be applicable. Now, when we talk about the increase in the threshold limits here, so first let us talk for TDS and then we have for TCS as well. So now if you used to get interest on securities, so the securities can be your shares, debentures. In that case, TDS used to be done under section 193. And that used to be there only if your interest receipt is more than 5,000 rupees. So now that has been proposed to be increased to 10,000. And this is in all cases, if you have debenture interest or if you have any other interest on securities, so that can be shares or debentures. And the second thing is interest other than the securities. So here, this can be your FD interest or RD interest. In that case, TDS used to be done. Now, that limit was 50,000 for senior citizens and it was 40,000 for other than senior citizens. But now that has been proposed to be increased to 1 lakh rupees for senior citizen and 50,000 for other than senior citizen. Now, when we talk about dividend, so now if you used to get any dividend from any companies or from mutual funds, in that case, TDS used to be done under section 194. If in a particular year, if you have received more than 5,000 as your dividend income. But now that has been proposed to be increased to 10,000 rupees. That means if in a particular financial year, if your dividend receipt is more than 10,000 rupees, in that case, under section 194, TDS will be done. And if you are an insurance agent or if you are receiving some sort of brokerage, in that case, TDS used to be done under section 194D if the threshold or if the receipt was more than 15,000 rupees, but now that has been proposed to be increased to 20,000 rupees. And if you had some winnings from lottery, crossword puzzles, or card game gambling, in that case, TDS used to be deducted under section 194I, 194B. So now the current threshold was 10,000 rupees. That means if in a particular financial year, if you are receiving more than 10,000 rupees as your winning income, in that case, TDS used to be done at 30%. But now still limit remains the same, that is 10,000. But if in a particular financial year, if your single transaction is also exceeding 10,000 rupees, in that case also TDS will be done under section 194B. Now coming to the next section, which is rent. So now if you are receiving any sort of rent, in that case, TDS used to be done under section 194I if the total rent received used to exceed 2.4 lakh rupees during a particular financial year. But now from 2.4 lakh rupees, this has been made at 50,000 per month or part of it. That means if in a particular month, if you are receiving 50,000 or more than that as your rent, in that case, TDS needs to be deducted under section 194I. Now, when we talk about fees, technical services, that is fees for technical services, which is again your professional income. In that case, TDS used to be done under section 194J if your total receipt was exceeding 30,000 rupees, but now that is proposed to be increased to 50,000 rupees. Now, when we talk about TCS here, so now if you are remitting the amount under LRS, that is liberalized remittance scheme, in that case TCS will be there, but that TCS will be collected if your remittance amount is exceeding 7 lakh rupees, and TCS used to be done at 5%. But now from 7 lakh, it is proposed to be increased to 10 lakh rupees. That means if you are remitting up to 10 lakh rupees, in that case, TCS will not be applicable. But if you are remitting more than 10 lakh rupees, in that case, 5% will be the TCS rate here. But if you are doing this remittance for the educational purpose or for any educational loan, in that case, this TCS has been completely removed. And when we talk about the overseas tour packages, right? So if you are purchasing any overseas tour packages, in that case, if that purchase amount was up to 7 lakh rupees, in that case, 5% used to be the rate. And if it exceeds 7 lakh rupees, in that case, 20% used to be the rate. But now that has been increased to 10 lakh rupees. So this was about overseas tour packages. Yes, so this was about it. So I'm done with my explanation. If you have any sort of doubts, please start putting it in the chat box or the Q&A section here. Okay, as of now, I have not received any questions in the chat box. Let me quickly check in the Q&A here.
Guys, you can raise your hand so that I can unmute you, or either you can do that, or you can put your questions in a chat box so that I can read it loud and speaker will answer the question. If you are okay, you can raise your hand so that I can unmute you, or else you can put a question in the chat box.
Okay, so there is one question in the Q&A section here, which is from John. Who will be paying taxes on crypto profits? John, it should be the taxpayer or the person who is investing. So if you are investing, in that case, you will be paying taxes if you are making any profits here. Whatever we talked about the crypto reporting, right? So that is only for the reporting. That is all the reporting entities, that is from whom you are doing this particular transactions, right? So that person needs to report it. That's it. But when it comes to paying taxes, so you are the one who needs to pay the taxes here.
There is one question in chat. Can you please explain marginal relief part? Which is
okay, fine, got it. Yes. I hope my screen is visible, right? About the marginal relief.
yes, it is.
Okay, fine, got it. So here, see, in our previous slide, we understood that for a salaried individual, if your income is up to 12,75,000, in that case, because of rebate, you don't have to pay any taxes. Now, let us take an example wherein a person is having salary income of 12,85,000 rupees. So now, first and foremost thing is he will not get any rebate here because his income is exceeding 12,75,000. So now his income is exceeding only 10,000 from 12,75,000. So now because he will not get any rebate, now what we need to do is we need to calculate his taxes as per the slab rates. So the slab rates we have already discussed. So if you can see in the proposed, so this will be the tax slabs and the rates which will be applicable for that particular person. So now if you go ahead and compute taxes as per the tax slabs as well as the rates, his tax liability is coming to 61,500 rupees. So this you can see in column C. So this seems a bit unfair for those individuals whose income is exceeding just 10,000 from 12,75,000. So in this situation, your marginal relief comes in. So now according to marginal relief, we need to consider two things here. First is your tax liability as per the normal slab rates, which is there in column C. And column D is how much is your income exceeding 12,75,000. So in our first example, it is only exceeding by 10,000 rupees. So now because your income was bit more than 12,75,000, so you need not pay tax as per the tax slabs here because you will be getting a benefit of marginal relief. So now here you will be paying tax only as 10,000 rupees and not 61,500. So in simple words, you are getting a marginal relief, which is given under column E of 51,500 rupees. And this will go up to your annual income of 30,45,588 rupees, because this will not hold, good for your income level irrespective of your income level. So there has to be a limit here up till when your marginal relief is applicable for you, or if it is more beneficial for you. And that particular income level is 13,45,588 rupees. So at this particular income level, your tax liability as per the slab as well as the marginal relief is same here. That is 70,588 rupees. So at this particular income level or after this particular income level, it is beneficial for you to pay taxes as per the slab rates and not as per the marginal relief concept. So I hope it is clear to you. So this was from Vijeta. I hope it is clear for you. If you have any question related to this, you can put it in the chat box or you can ask me. Sajita, yes, you will get the PPT here. Yeah, you will get the PPT. So I'll ask him, to circulate the PPT after the session. Okay, Vijeta, you got it. Fine. Gaurav, I can see there is one person who has raised his hand. If you can allow him to ask his question.
Wait a second. No, there is no.
Okay,
Oh,
that person has.
Okay.
Okay, fine.
So there is one question in question answer. Okay.
Yeah, I am just taking it up. Yeah.
Daniel. Yes.
Yes. So, okay, first is from Shweta. Okay. Thank you, Shweta, for the appreciation. Her question is, will the new taxation policies be implemented in financial year 25-26? Yes, you are right. So, whatever we spoke now about budget 2025, so whatever the slab rates, everything will be applicable from financial year 25-26. Okay, there is one question from Shilpi. If someone gets 14 lakh salary per annum, will he or she shall pay tax on 14 lakh or 2 lakh after getting a relief of exemption till 12 lakh rupees? Okay, Shilpi, as I already said, if your income is up to 12 lakh rupees, only in that case you'll be eligible for rebate. If your income is 14 lakh rupees, right? So in that case, for whole 14 lakh, we need to compute the taxes. And in your case, you will not be eligible for marginal relief as well. So on whole 14 lakh, we need to compute taxes, and your tax will be based on your whole income. That is 14 lakh rupees. Okay, how to file TDS? So this is from support. Pocket HRMS. I'm not sure whether I should take how to claim TDS. Okay, fine. So see, this TDS is basically, I need to check which type of TDS you're talking about. So if it is for salary, right? For salary, if any TDS has been deducted from your employer, and while filing the income tax return, if you are claiming any extra deductions, or if there is any decrease in the income or any such thing, in that case you need to file your income tax return, and at that time you can claim this TDS as a refund. Okay, so those who are asking about the PPT, right? So we will circulate the PPT after the session. I'll ask my team to share it with you, or we will share it with Gaurav, so he will circulate it to all of you. Okay, Jitender, for your question, I have already answered it, but just to take it up, okay, new income. Okay, you are talking about new tax code, that is the new income tax bill. So that will be applicable from financial year 26-27 onwards, because as of now nothing has been notified and it is still under consideration. So that will be applicable from financial year 26-27. But when you ask me about the applicability of budget 2025, in that case it will be applicable from financial year 25-26. Okay, so there is one question from Harish. How frequent we can change between old and new regime? Okay, so Harish, there is no limit as such about how much how many times you can switch between old and new tax regime, provided you don't have any business or professional income. because if you have business or professional income, in that case only once in a lifetime you'll be able to change between old and new tax regime. But if you have any other income that is other than the business and profession, in that case you can change between the regimes any number of times. Okay, Husna is asking, are there any deductions available for home loan interest payments? Yes, Husna. So there is a deduction which you can claim under Section 24B for the interest under house loan. And Husna, if you want any specific clarification, right, in that case about the interest repayment, you can ask me. Okay, Jitender is asking, TDS would automatically populate it from 26 AS as tax paid. Yes, so you need to check your form 26 AS. If for salary, right, for salary, it will be reflected in your form 16 as well as your form 26 AS. But for other than salary, in that case, you need to check your form 26 AS. So that TDS will be reflected along with your income. Okay, so there is a question from Sajita. For employee who is getting 16 lakh CTC, need to go under new regime or old regime? Which one you suggest? Okay, see Sajita, I just cannot tell you based on your income, right, about which regime is beneficial. We need to consider your exemptions, deductions, your other income, source of income, everything needs to be considered here. So what I'll do is, we have a calculator, we have a tool wherein you can just put in your income as well as the investments that you have, and clear tax will automatically calculate how much is your liability under old and new tax regime. So that link I will put it in the chat box. So whoever wants to want to have a calculation about which regime is beneficial, what will be my liability, so you can just use that calculator. So I'm just sharing that calculator with you. Okay, so I have shared the link in the chat box. So whoever wants to use it to know their liability as well as the regime, the beneficial regime, you can use that. Okay, so there is one question from Lohita. If an employee earns 12,75,000, which includes both salary and income from capital gain, a 75,000 standard deduction will be applied. Yes, see here, Lohita, the thing is, if your salary income is 12,75,000, in that case you will be able to claim 75,000 standard deduction from your salary income, right? So this is something we can consider. But for the capital gains, right? So capital gain will be taxed separately. So this will not come under your 12,75,000 limit. So whatever is there, so that will be taxed separately depending upon the capital gain, about the type of the capital gain. Depending upon that, tax rates will be applicable. Okay, again there is question from support. That is, can we claim a TDS deducted for fixed deposit interest? See, you can claim the TDS, but again, see, depending upon the whether you are eligible for refund or whether you need to pay some taxes, right? So you can claim TDS, provided first thing is what you need to do is whatever the fixed deposit that you are receiving, FD interest, whatever you are receiving. So this you need to show it as income from other sources, and this will be added to your total income. So this will be added to your total income, and after that, first we will compute your taxes. So let us suppose take an example that from your salary income, from your FD interest, your tax liability is coming to 50,000 rupees, and the bank has deducted TDS of 30,000 rupees, right? So this 30,000 we will deduct from the 50,000 rupees, and remaining 20,000 will be your tax liability that you need to pay. Now let us take one more example. When your tax liability is 50,000, but your bank has deducted a TDS of 70,000. In that case, this 20,000 you will be able to take as a refund. Okay, so there is one question from John. Suppose someone has neither neither paid taxes nor filed it since their salary is 5 lakh currently. how will that individual be penalized? Okay, so here if it is up to 5 lakh rupees, right? So we need to see whether you're opting for old tax regime or new tax regime. That is something we need to consider. But considering you're opting for a new tax regime, wherein 3 lakh is the basic exemption limit, and assuming you're not a senior citizen and all, so if it is up to 5 lakh rupees, in that case, if you have not filed your income tax return, in that case, you will be penalized. See, first thing is you need to go for ITR-U now. Okay, so depending upon it is for which year you are filing this particular income tax return, we need to check that, because I have told the additional tax liability percentages, right? So there are different percentages. So considering that, you need to go for ITR-U. So here for 5 lakh rupees, again we need to okay, this is only salary income. In that case, we need to first see your tax liability here, which will be your normal tax liability, wherein your interest under section 234F will be applicable, and your interest under section 234A, B, C will be applicable. 234F late fees will be applicable, and here the additional tax liability will also come in for your ITR, depending upon for which year you are filing the income tax return. Okay, Gaurav is asking, suppose someone has paid taxes and has Form 16 also, but not filed ITR, would he be liable for penalty? Okay, so Gaurav, first thing is we need to consider what is your income level. If it is up to 3 lakh rupees, in that case, you really need not file your income tax return. And also you are telling that you have already paid taxes. So I'm presuming it is TDS, right? And you have Form 16 also, but in that case also you have to file your income tax return. So it is nowhere written that if TDS is deducted, you don't have to file your income tax return, nothing like that. So if your income is exceeding basic exemption limit, although TDS has been deducted by your employer, you still need to file your income tax return. And when it comes to the liability, I have already explained it for the previous question. So depending upon for which year you are filing your income tax return and whatever is your liability, whatever the TDS has been deducted, so everything needs to be considered there. And your liability, your final liability will be including your 234A, B, C interest, 234F, that is late fee for filing your income tax return, and your ITR-U, additional tax liability, will be considered there.
So there is one question from Jayesh in question answer Q&A. Please.
Yes, I'm taking it up. Yes, 1 second. Okay, so there is a question from Jayesh. Employees falling in 0% tax slabs in both new and old tax regime, are they also liable to pay TDS at 20% in case of inoperative or no PAN, since they are not liable to pay any taxes in regular scenario? Okay, see, there are two things. The tax slabs that we talked about is when you're filing your income tax return, and TDS will be applicable if you're falling within the threshold limit, right? So now let us take an example wherein you are receiving some sort of interest, that is you are having interest income, and if it is exceeding 40,000 rupees and the new limit is 50,000 rupees, let us suppose say you are receiving an interest of 60,000 rupees, right? In that case, TDS will be applicable. So if you don't have PAN, in that case bank itself will deduct your TDS at 20%. So in that case, although you are not falling under the tax slab, still your TDS will be applicable at 20% for your income. That is first, that is the answer for your first question. And second is, and how does marginal relief work in case of 20% TDS? Well, this same table that has shown will work in either of the cases. See, 20% TDS and marginal relief is nowhere connected, right? So it is nowhere connected. When we talk about the marginal relief or when we talk about the tax slabs, it is only to calculate your total income, right? So here this 20% TDS will come into picture only if your income is exceeding that particular threshold, or your receipt is in exceeding that particular threshold, and if you don't have PAN, in that case 20% rate will be applicable. And marginal relief will work samely, like the same table will only be applicable for you. Okay, Daniel, yes, you are right. Daniel Sneha, yes, you are right. So you have to pay only 10K as the taxes. Okay, so there is one question. What if someone's TDS is deducted more than 50K on FD, but their total income is less than 12 lakh rupees? Will they get any rebate? Yes, so they will get a rebate. You have to file your income tax return and show your FD interest and your other income as well. If it is up to 12 lakh rupees, then you will get a rebate there. Okay, and whatever 50K, so you are telling more than 50K is your FD interest. So now whatever TDS has been deducted, right, at the rate 10%. So let us say it is 5,000 rupees. So in that case, 5,000 you can claim as a refund there. Okay, so I'll just pick up two more questions here. Um, okay, so Jayesh is asking in follow up to my first question, if an employee is earning say 2,50,000 annually as NIT, will he be paying TDS at 20% or no TDS since he falls in the 0% tax slab? Okay, so here if you don't have PAN, right, if you don't have PAN, in that case 20% TDS will be applicable. But if your income is within the basic exemption limit, in that case TDS will not come into picture itself, so there will be no TDS deduction here. So there will be tax applicable to the people whose income will be little more than 3 lakh rupees. Yes, so this will be applicable if it is more than 3 lakh rupees, right? In that case, tax will be applicable, but rebate is something you need to consider. So 3 lakh, I presume you're, doing it for the current slab rates that we have, that is before budget 2025. So in that case, if it is more than 3 lakh, in that case, you will be able to get a rebate here. Okay, so if you guys have any other questions, please put it in the chat box. Please don't put it in the Q&A because most of them are putting it in the chat box, so it will be easier for me to take it up from there. Okay, Varun, thank you so much. Okay, so there is one last question. I am taking just one last question from Arun. If anyone select new regime for financial year 24-25, so can he select old regime in next financial year 26-25? So here your okay, next financial year is 25-26. Yes, you can do it. As I already said, you can do the switch between old and new tax regime. Every year you can change it, provided you don't have any business or professional income. Okay, Gaurav, thank you so much. Yes. Gaurav, I guess I have taken most of the questions here, so I don't see any other unanswered question here.
Thank you so much, Aishwarya, for this wonderful
Yeah.
session. And thank you, Team Clear, for participating in this Smart Talk edition. Thank you guys for joining this edition of Smart Talk. We will see you in the next edition soon. And yes, those people who are asking for the recordings, I will share the recordings once they're available. And also, Aishwarya, if you can share across the PPT, then it will be a great help for us. Those people can go again and check.
Yeah, sure, Gaurav. I'll ask Himank. This PPT is there with Himank already, so I'll just
Okay.
ask him to share the PPT with you, right?
Yes, sure. So I'll
Okay.
I'll share the PPT as well as the recording link to all the participants as soon as they are
Yes.
available. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you, Gaurav. Thank you.
Yes. Have a great week ahead. Bye bye.
Yeah. Bye.